Okay.
Mate, can you give me your name and your date of birth?
Yeah. Gunther 37.
Okay. And can you say a greeting to the audience in German, in your native tongue?
Yes, of course.
Okay, you can do that.
Hallo zu jeden, der sieht. Guten Tag.
And the same again in English.
Yeah. Hello to anyone who see it. Good day.
Okay. Right, Gunther, I believe you grew up in Germany, obviously.
Yeah.
And when you was a young man and you left school, what was your first job?
Glass blowing.
And how did you come by doing that?
Because we lived on the glass factory. I worked there.
And what town was that in?
That was a small town south of Hanover.
Hanover. Okay. Right.
You wouldn't know the name.
I wouldn't know the name. I wouldn't even know where it is.
That's right.
Yeah,
I
what's
can
it?
show you. I can show
North?
you a picture where I
So I'll look it
worked
up on the map, and I'll put it up on the map. So is that north of Germany or south of Germany?
in the north.
It's
Yeah.
in the north. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's towards.
When you start from Hamburg down, it's about 400 kilometers down.
Okay. Right. So you as a young man. So what age did you start work at?
14.
14. And so you did what? First year of high school, second year of high school, or?
Yeah, we done 9 years school. That's it.
That's it. Okay. So then you did your glass blowing. Was that an apprenticeship or was that a
Yes.
traineeship?
Apprenticeship.
Apprenticeship. And what sort of objects did you make?
The glass for sunglasses.
Oh, okay. Oh. And when you was doing your glass blowing, and how long did you do that career for?
We learned for 2 years. Then I learned glass cutting and grinding, optic grinding.
So a specialist.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
until I was 19. Then I left
And then you left, and where'd you go from there?
to Hanover, Volkswagen factory.
Oh, okay. So you worked in Volkswagen. Is that where you met Helga?
Yeah, we worked together side by side.
Okay, and how long did you work together before you asked her out?
That was a good question. About 1 year.
Oh, you got brave enough then, did you?
Yeah, we went dancing. It was good.
Yep. So what were the places like where you went dancing? Were they big halls, big theatres? What were they?
No, the restaurants,
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So just like coffee and
No, there was dance halls and Sunday afternoon dancing, Saturday night, you know.
Yep.
The hotels, they all have dance halls. They have a restaurant, dance hall, and then rooms.
Okay, so you met Helga and you asked her out. You did a couple of times dancing.
Yeah, about 1 year, then we talked about going on holiday. I wanted to go to Sweden, Helga wanted to go to Italy, and then she talked me into going to Italy.
Okay, and how did you find that?
A big mistake.
What makes you say that?
Italy was beautiful, but we fight like cat and dog.
Is that right?
Was impossible.
So what did you fight about? Just not liking each other, or?
No, there was just totally disagreement.
Yeah.
I was so angry when I get home. I left the Volkswagen factory and went to Continental Tires, making tires.
Wow.
I wanted to get away from her.
Oh, so was that bad?
Was that bad? Yeah, I had enough.
Oh, okay. So you worked at Continental Tires leaving Volkswagen, and she stayed at Volkswagen, did she?
She stayed there, yeah.
Okay. And then obviously you met again because you married the lady.
Yeah. I stayed at Continental for 1 year. And then we really ran together on the railway station, main railway station. I come around the corner, boom, he was right in front of me.
Wow. And so what happened then? You just
She said, look, we haven't seen each other for about 1.5 years. What do you want to do? You like dancing? I missed it. I said, yeah, that's all right. I loved it too. It was good. Dancing was good. But
So was you rock and roll, or what did you do?
No, anything.
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 Anything. So would they have live bands, obviously, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
About 3, 4, 5 people band. No, it was good.
So you met Helga again?
And I had already another girlfriend. Yeah. I met about nearly a year after I left. And that was good, tight. I was at their home already. Everything was all right. And then Helga said, "You are dancing." I said, "No, I got Crystal." No. She wouldn't know. She wouldn't know. Come on, we got dancing. And I stupid, I said yes. And when we went to go out dancing, Helga saw me. That was the end of it. So I stuck with her.
So you stuck with Helga?
Yeah.
Because the other girl saw you with Helga?
Yeah, I told her, just said, "Look, sorry." Yeah, I know. She didn't recognize me, she recognized Helga.
Oh.
Because I showed her the photos when we were in Italy, you know. She recognized
you must have
her.
had a thing for Helga to show your new girlfriend your pictures of Helga.
Oh, look, I showed her Italy, and Italy was all right. The holiday was good, but as soon as we went in the room together, it was just a disaster.
Oh, okay. So when you was travelling in Europe with Helga, and when you went to Italy, did you both speak English then?
What, after Australia?
No, when you was young.
Before we came here?
Yeah.
No.
No,
No.
So you only spoke one language, or?
Yeah. I learned English in school, but I always hide in the cupboards. I didn't like it.
Didn't like it?
I hated it.
Oh, okay. Just hard to do, or just didn't like it?
Yeah, was not interested.
Oh, okay. Okay,
So,
so you bumped into Helga at the railway station. You went out dancing, and then what happened from there with
we've stayed together.
stayed together? And Helga was still at the Volkswagen factory?
Yes,
Yes. Okay.
yes.
Now, what age were you then when you?
I was 23,
23.
23 and a half, something.
Now, Helga grew up in East Germany.
Yeah,
Okay, you had the wall up then, which was.
yeah, the wall was up.
Germany was the wall.
Yeah, she forged papers. She was working in a supermarket. And the boss said, "Look, can you do paperwork?" Yeah, okay. So she has to do the bookwork, and she got the forms for release because you couldn't just leave East Germany. So she took one home, filled it out, stamped it, and then she went in a train. She stepped in the wrong train. Instead of going west, she went east.
Oh, heading towards Russia.
No, towards Berlin.
Ah.
Because Berlin was about Berlin was away from the border 300 kilometers, or 290. And Helga lived right in the middle between the border and Berlin. So instead of going to the border, she went to Berlin. And then she found out, because they checked the ticket, "Oh, you're in the wrong train." They stopped it, and they put her in the right train, and she went over. Because Helga's sister was in the West.
Oh, okay.
She ran away.
Oh, she went across. So.
Yeah, she worked in a hotel, and Helga went there, and then.
And she got across the border, so it would have been a bit of a fright for her to get across.
Of course.
Yeah. So was the wall up then, or was it still the wire?
No, there was a wall up.
Wall up. Okay.
Yeah.
So what year was that? Do you know?
That was in 61.
61. So her life in East Germany, what was that like? Do you know? Did she ever talk much about that?
Yes. When you want to go away, you want to visit your sister, you have to write in the book where you live, "I leave now at this and this time and go on this and this address." When you come to the address, you have to write in, "I arrived here at this and this time from this and this address." And when you leave again, you have to do the same thing. So there was 100% control over everything.
Okay. So everything was total control and
Total control, yeah.
So when she left East Germany, did she leave family behind?
Yeah, her mother was behind, her brother was behind, and the older sister.
Okay. And how did anything happen to them because she left?
Yeah, her mother was sacked from the job because she said you didn't have you done your homework. You should look after the children, And she was forced out of the flat she had in a smaller one. And then Helga's oldest sister, her husband was a movie not a producer, this, we call it Wanderkinos. He had everything in a van, he went there and then showed a movie and packed up. Projectionist, yeah.
Okay.
And he took the mother and went over the border.
So he snuck her across?
Yeah,
So
in Berlin. In Berlin. Yeah, but on a motorbike. First with a van and then there was a motorbike. Went poof, over.
So how do you know the story how that actually happened? How did she get to the van and how did she get to
No, I don't know the
Okay.
little details.
So they escaped using a van and a motorbike
Nah,
and across to the west.
how they went out exactly, I don't know.
Okay, geez, that would have been
But he took her out, I know that.
That would have been a
There
big
was
deal.
only her brother left.
So he was in West Germany.
No, he was in East.
East.
Yeah, he went over the border and went back. And he said, I made a mistake. I don't know what happened,
Okay.
And then she took her brother over.
She got her brother out as well.
Yeah.
So how did they do that?
The brother was in the FDJ, the young
Soldiers, youth.
youth organization.
Okay. So what do they call that? The
FDJ,
FDJ. Okay.
Freie Deutsche Jugend, which was rubbish. And then he got a pass out for just to visit in Berlin, but he had to leave everything behind. And he said, all right, I come back. I just wanted to have a look. That was possible.
Oh, so they were free to travel across the border
Yeah.
to West Germany.
Yeah, to West Berlin.
Yeah.
To West Berlin for a visit.
Okay.
He said, I come back in a few hours, but he never came back. As soon as he was in the West, they just grabbed him in a plane and gone.
Gone, that was it. So the whole family was out then?
Yeah.
So, because the border got tighter after that, didn't it?
Yeah, after that, the border went tight.
So you was married to Helga what year?
I married 62.
62.
April.
So you was telling me before, so was this before you was married, you was taking stuff across the border?
No, that was after.
After. So what were you
Because
taking across? And how did you do it?
I asked Helga to marry me. And she said, no, I don't marry. She didn't say me, she just said, I don't get married.
Okay.
That's it. I did that 3 weeks before Christmas. 61. Between Christmas and New Year, I asked her again. And she said, I don't get married. And on the 11th of February, she said, will you marry me?
Okay. So what brought that about? What brought the change of mind about with marrying?
I found out 1 year later. I didn't know. She was with a specialist. He said she never can have kids. Impossible. She said, if I can't have kids, I don't get married. And she told me, look, don't worry about it. I never get kids. First time, bang.
That was it. It must have been you, mate.
No, it was, I don't know what it was. Maybe the specialist made a mistake,
Something in the water.
I don't know what it was.
Anyway, so you married
But when she
Helga.
found out, yeah, we married.
Okay. So
We married 2 months later.
fantastic.
March, April.
Okay. And you fought like cats and dogs. You were saying
Yeah.
you were on your holiday.
Yeah,
And then you married the lady. Did you still fight like cats and dogs?
no,
No?
No.
All changed.
all changed.
what happened? Grew up or?
I don't know.
No,
I don't know.
just,
Never found out.
just love in the air.
She doesn't know it either.
So it must have meant to be. That's fantastic. And with your
Then we got married in Hanover,
Yep.
where her mother lived. And then they said in Germany, you have to go to the army. Year 37 has to be to the army. If you live in Berlin, you don't have to go. So I said, look, we went to Berlin, lived there, I don't have to go to the army.
Oh, okay. So you moved to Berlin, and where'd you work then?
I worked first for the American army, but there was no coming up, you know.
No promotion.
And I lived about half a kilometer away from the airport, where the Air Force was. So I went to the Air Force and asked if they'd hire a driver. Said, yeah, we can use you. Because I had to go there times to deliver soldiers and pick them up, you know. So I know them. And I started as a driver in the Air Force.
Oh, okay. So going back to when you was taking stuff across to
Yeah,
West
that was when we lived in Berlin.
and when you lived in Berlin. So how
Yeah.
did you? What was the reason that you was taking stuff across?
Because Helga's older sister was still there.
Was still in East Berlin.
Yeah,
Oh,
with the
okay.
family.
So what was you smuggling across?
I had to pick up from the depot many times milk from Denmark. And they came in 25-liter plastic containers. So when one container was damaged in a big box, they throw the whole container out, the whole box out. And then I just picked them up, cleaned them up, put them in a suitcase. And sometimes they have their iron ration. You know, they open up the can, they only took the cigarettes out, throw the rest away. So I pick up the Smarties, peanut butter, sugar, milk, chocolate, and cocoa. Took it all home. I had a truck, you know. I went home with a truck. All the kids went on there. We sorted everything out, put it in the suitcase, and drove over. You can go, when you went to East Germany, you have on the rest areas, there's benches. You can park there. And it was all right. In suitcase, they never looked. But when you have something else, then they look. So Helga wrote a letter to her sister and said, look, the baby arrived on Friday afternoon, 4 o'clock. Okay, that means Friday afternoon, 4 o'clock, I've been in that parking area.
So that was your code.
That was the code, yeah. And then I waited. When I saw his van coming, I just moved forward to the next parking area, and he stopped there, but I unloaded the suitcase behind the bench. So he put everything in his van. I took off, he took off, and that went.
That was it. So that's you just an exchange.
Ah, there was a lot.
A lot of people doing it.
No, there was a lot. We went there so many times, you know.
You never got worried about getting caught?
Oh, of course.
And if you had been caught, what would have been the consequences? Just,
You go in jail.
yeah. Wow, that's a great
They
way.
take the car away and put you in jail for maybe 2 or 3 months, and then they chuck you over the border.
Okay.
Once we smuggled a television over.
Television.
The
How did
television
you get
over.
that across?
We hid it. It was not a very big one, you know. And there were suitcases in front. So we said, look, we are on holiday, suitcase. Yeah, that's all right, go. When you've been in it, it's all right. Coming out of it, that's when it's dangerous.
So they check everything
Then they check everything, the whole car. They don't check when you go in,
coming into.
but when you go out, they check. They only look, all right.
So how often was you going across? Every week, every month?
At least once a month.
You was
I
taking-
drove for an organization on a weekend delivering, they call it Mitfahrerzentrale. So if you say you live in Berlin, you want to go to Frankfurt. You haven't got a car, you went to the office and said, look, you have a car to go to Frankfurt, Yeah, on Tuesday the car drives. So you go with them, pay a little bit for the petrol money, and they take you. So I took people over to West Germany and took him back. I got paid for it in my free time,
Okay.
Saturdays, Sundays.
Yep.
I drove holiday people to Austria. No, from Berlin,
Berlin
just Berliner, Western.
Okay.
And every time I went over, I just smuggled something over. They had plenty to eat.
Plenty to eat. Okay.
Yeah, because you couldn't buy anything. They said the pigs, the meat goes to Russia and the bones stay here.
That's what they used to say.
Yeah.
East Germany.
You were only allowed to keep in your chicken 6 eggs per week. If you had more than 6 eggs, you had to give it to the party. So the party bosses took it away.
So they only had existence.
Ah, it was terrible.
Terrible. So the standard was very low.
It was very low.
So you would have been like Father Christmas coming across with you.
Oh, yeah.
With
Every time they kids, they had everything.
So you did that until for how long before you didn't have to do that anymore? Or what were the circumstances that changed it?
66.
So that went for how many years? How long did you do it? From when did you get married?
From 63 we moved, beginning 63 we moved to Berlin, and 66 we migrated to Australia.
Oh, okay, so for 3 years.
Yes, 3 years.
Okay. So you're working in Berlin for the military base.
Yeah, Air
being a
Force,
driver,
Air Force Base.
Doing a truck driver. Is that all you did?
No.
Was truck driving?
No. Sedans, little buses, big buses, trucks, whatever.
So you did everything.
Yeah.
Okay. And was it a good job?
Yeah. If you drive VIPs, that's all.
Nice.
From a major upwards.
Okay.
Major, colonel, general, and ambassadors.
Fantastic. And so what was the decision to leave Germany to come to another country?
Because when you want to go with your car from West Berlin to West Germany, you know, sometimes you come to the border, you have to wait 4 hours in line because they're just nasty and they slow everything down. Then you have to pay $25, 25 marks to go across. That's how they get the money.
Okay. So that's to go across the border.
Yeah, and many times I drove over, you know, the police is just very nasty. I had a few short, close calls. Once I was in a line, and there was a man in front, he was a movie star. I know him. And looked at him, and he said, yeah. And he said, look, there's a lot of, we play a game? I said, yeah, we play a game. You know, I was in an Opel, he was in a Mercedes. So he overtook me, then I overtook him, and so we played a game. It's not boring. And the speed went up to 140. But 100 was the maximum. And we were caught by police coming the other way. And he turned around, and then I said, Jesus, what's happened now? And suddenly the Mercedes was gone. Then I saw a police parking. I went in there, I nearly ran in the back of him. Because he went in there, switched the lights and the engine off, and waited. You know, and I went after him in there, and the police went zoom past.
You hit off, you turn off, and hit off.
Yeah, and we waited for about half an hour, and then slowly drove to Berlin. When we came to Berlin, there was no cars at all. Everybody slow out, quick out, you know. They're waiting for the 2 races.
They never showed up.
They never showed up. We came just in about 10 minutes apart, you know.
So it just was difficult life at that time.
Yeah, they made it hard.
So what was the reason you picked Australia to come?
Australia was warm, no snow. I liked the beach. So
you made a decision.
and I wanted to go as far away as I can
from Europe.
from the trouble.
Okay, so because it was still struggling with Germany.
Yeah, the East was too difficult. I had an old woman in there. She was the mother from the Mitfahrer office. I had to leave her over. And it was a little bit raining, and then it stopped. And from Berlin is a big Autobahn ring. It's about 80 kilometers wide, a big ring distributed. And when you go off the ring, there was no bitumen or concrete because the Autobahn is concrete. There were these basalt blocks, when you come there and it's raining, you go like that. So I had to drive careful because there was a sign 40. And when we came around back to the Autobahn, it was in end 40. So I put my foot down, and further down was a major with his machine gun. Stopped. So I stopped right in front of him. And he said, oh, why you can't stop in the middle of the Autobahn? I said, you stop, you put your finger, that's where I stopped. Park. So I went reverse. Park, when you park, you go like this, forward, then I go in line. I don't tell you to drive forward. I said, okay. Then I went a little bit back, so he was happy.
You had the gun on you.
Oh, yeah.
This is
The machine pistols,
yeah.
they don't have any other guns.
Wow.
So he said, you have a license? I said, yeah. If I didn't have a license, I would be here. Then you know the rules. I said, if I don't know the rules, I wouldn't have a license. So it made him already a little bit angry because I was playing with him. Okay, what is the sign up there? I said, that sign says speed limit finish. No, the one before. I said, that's 40. How fast you drive? I said, 40. And when you come to the sign, I said, I put my foot down. 1200. He said, you can't tell me that your car can accelerate from that point to me to 100. I said, look, it's not a little Trabant where I have to open the doors and wait for the wind to push me. And he said, one more word of you go 3 months in jail, your car is gone. I never answered anymore. Nothing.
It was very good after that. You behaved, huh?
Yeah, when I came to the West, I said, what's the matter with buggers? And there was a milk in front. And the Grenzer said, how much you paid? I said, I paid $25, 25 marks. He said, be lucky, he paid 150. It's a bigger car. Up from the Volkswagen upwards, you have to pay. Below, no. Only the bigger ones have to pay.
Okay. So you decided to come to Australia. So you would have had your first child by then?
I had my first child in Hanover still. Dirk was born 62 in October. The second one was in Berlin in September 64.
So you had 2 children?
Yeah. When we came here, Bernd was 1.5 and Dirk was 3.5.
Okay. So did you come by boat or did you fly or what? How did
By
you
boat,
come?
yes.
By boat.
To the Suez.
Through, sorry?
To the Suez Canal.
The Suez Canal.
Yeah.
Okay. And how long did that take you?
Angelina Laura took 5 weeks.
Okay. So was it all migrants on the boat or was it?
It was all migrants, yeah.
Migrants. So did they have, like, we used to call them here the £10 pom? Did you have a discount at all for you coming from Europe or did you?
No, we paid 250 miles. I had to pay 500 marks for Helga and for me. The kids were free.
Okay.
And you had to sign for 2 years to stay.
You come through the Suez Canal.
Yeah.
And so where did you
It
stop?
was a maiden ship. The maiden voyage for the ship.
Was it really?
Brand new.
Brand new ship.
Until we reached Naples. Then it became second hand. Oh,
What happened there?
it was terrible.
So what caused it to become second hand? Just a party ship or?
No, the Italians. You get in the lift from the ship, stinks. The kids, they pee in the lift. There was no sanity.
No toilet, not enough facilities.
Everything was there, but there was no. They were like animals.
Oh. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
Naples was back.
Backwards, was it? Okay. So been. So you came from there. So when you got to Australia, which port did you come into?
Fremantle. Fremantle, yeah.
Perth.
That was in February 66.
And you didn't stay in Perth, did you? You stayed on the boat?
No, we went to Melbourne, from there to Bonegilla, and then I went to Brisbane. Helga stayed in Bonegilla until I had a flat in Warwick. Then they came up. Then I went to New Guinea, worked for the American Army, built army camps in Biwak. That was an interesting thing.
Interesting. So we'll go back to when you got. So you got off. Which port did you actually disembark from the boat?
Melbourne.
Melbourne. Okay. And then Helga, you said stayed in.
She stayed in Bonegilla.
So how long was that stay from there for you to find a job in Brisbane?
In Brisbane, it took about 2 weeks. Then I had a job and a flat. It was easy.
And how did they come up? They busted up, or did they?
They came up by train.
By train.
Everything was paid for.
Okay. And who did that? Who paid for everything? You did.
No.
Oh.
That was included in the trip.
In the trip. Okay. So
Yeah.
that was part of your ticket.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So when you came here, what was your first impressions?
When I came to Brisbane, and I thought I was my own grandfather.
Is that right?
That far back.
Yeah.
It was that far back. It was unbelievable.
So you felt like you went back in time.
Yeah. In Brisbane, you come into Queen Street. By 6 o'clock, there was nothing. You could put a table up. You can play cards. You can have a drink. You can have coffee and cake. In the middle of the street, there was no cars, no movement at all.
So everybody was home.
Yeah. There was a big store, Allen & Stark, which is Myers now. There was a big commotion. And we went there in the night. It was about 7 o'clock. I said, what's that? Wallpaper. The first time they saw wallpaper.
Oh.
Blue, yellow, red, everything. Just plain colors. Nothing. No pattern, nothing in it.
And they got all excited over it.
They got all excited over it. Oh, no, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it.
Fantastic. So, yeah, because in Europe you had wallpaper forever.
Yeah,
You know.
of course.
Yeah. So that was new. So you got to Brisbane, you found your flat. Helga and the kids came up.
Yeah. And Helga got a job at the motel service, waitress. And then she got a job in biggest hotel in Brisbane. I can't remember the name. A waitress. She never done before.
Okay.
That was an experience.
So your English would have been small?
I learned some English when I was for the American. Because when you have to. When you drive one officer, a general or a colonel or something like that, you have to learn some English, because we were alone with them. It was a good time. They take you to dinner. Everything was free. There was no rules. You could drive faster in Berlin. Nobody could touch you.
So you was the king of the road.
Yeah, I was drawing once. My supervisor, Peter, his girlfriend, she was reporter for the Philadelphia Air Force Base or whatever. And Peter said, look, can you pick up Helga up? Her name was Helga too. We want to go to the night movies. Oh, I went there. She wasn't finished. I said, Helga, don't worry about it. I talked to Peter. Just when I'm finished, I come. So I had to wait. And when she finally came, the movie was nearly starting. So we were late. She said, all right, put your foot down, go. I drove 128 in this 50 zone. And then suddenly I saw a blue light police car behind me. Overtook, but we were in the cars. They had blue lights and siren, everything. So I did nothing. I stopped. He went in front of me. Then they came over, and as soon as they were past the fender, I put this blue light on. And waited. Papers. I showed him the computer card, with holes in it. That's not it. I said, that's the papers for the car. License. I gave him a little thing too. Same thing. What is this? Is this a joke? I said, no. And I had Helga in the back, but she was in Texas for 3 years. So she could speak English with a Texas slang. And the general in Berlin, the commanding general, was General Clay. He was the top. And then Helga said, what did they want? I said, look, Swan, what's the matter? I said, look, if you like your job, be careful. You know that woman in the back? He said, no. I said, who is the general in charge? Clay. I said, that's his daughter. She wasn't. Oh, sorry. Drive careful. And they went. Next morning, I came to the office. Peter, come in the office. I came in. He said, what's happened last night? I said, Peter, it's not my fault. He said, yeah, it's Helga's fault, I know. But it's police. They had an excuse in there. Sorry, we stopped your car. We thought it was in danger. It was pinched or something, We had to make sure everything was all right.
So
That's okay.
They
wrote an excuse for
yeah.
stopping.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we could do what we wanted.
So you mentioned you got to Brisbane and you got your flat.
Yeah.
And things like that. And Helga's English. How was that?
Helga started English good. We wanted to stay. And I wanted to buy a house in south of Brisbane. I can't remember the suburb. It's a bad suburb now.
Oh, okay.
All the hooligans. And then Helga got a letter from her mother, come home straight away. She said, I can't. Her mother was sick. We wrote back, sorry, we haven't got the money for coming back now. We want to buy a house. She sent us the money for the trip to come back with the next boat. Helga said, what do I do, stay or go? So we went back on the Marconi. We came back to Germany 9 weeks after.
Is that right?
Her mother died 3 weeks after we arrived, cancer. The whole trip was for nothing.